I'm here, my friends. I'm so sorry I'm running late today. It seems to be a theme this week. AB Coffee, hey, I haven't seen you in so long. How are you? Also, Laurel, hello. Exiled Faye, hello. Thank you so much for your patience. Appreciate. Oh my gosh, you guys. Angel Faye, hey. Ooh, basketball season. How's basketball going? Ghost has rugby. Oh my goodness, my mat under my desk is messed up again. Ghost is the teacher sponsor for the rugby team at his school. So he doesn't exactly coach, but he helps out the coach. And he's there to support the kids and stuff, but he pretty much has it like every day other than Tuesday. I'm a coach at my wife's elementary school. Oh, that's so sweet, AB Coffee. How do you find coaching basketball? Ghost used to do basketball, and then when they started doing rugby, he switched to, because rugby is fairly new at his school, so he switched to doing that, and he really, really likes it. He really likes the culture of the game. It's going pretty good. It is a dreary, rainy morning here in my town. But it's Friday, and I'm excited. How are you, Laurel? Those little gremlins, let me tell you. I can imagine. Actually, last year, so they do a little bit of rugby in the fall, and then they break for the winter, and they do rugby again in the spring. And for the spring tournament last year, Ghost told his boys that if they won the out-of-town tournament, he would do mutton chops. And they did. They won. And he shaved this row down his beard so that he had mutton chops, and it was ridiculous. But, he'll do anything for those kids, really. Anything to encourage them. I brought this over. I didn't show it yesterday on stream because I hadn't done very much, but for anyone who's following the progress, you can kind of see how right here is where the other eye is going to be. I'm hopefully going to get much of this portion of the head done on stream tonight, on Flutterstream. I would love to finish this side of the head tonight, but I think there's probably still too much to actually get in, but you can see there's so many different colors on this freaking horse. It's crazy. So yeah, I've been plugging away at that for anyone who was keeping up with it, didn't get to see it this week yet. It's coming. It's coming. Yeah, hey Maskling. It's It was just this, like, upper part for a while, right? So if you imagine what it looks like without, like, the bottom part of the head, it was just that for a while. So now it's actually a horse head shape. I'd really, really love to get the eye in there tonight, but I just don't know how far I'll be able to get. There's a lot of the problem with this cross stitch versus the last one is that there's a lot of different colors, and so you just do like a little bit of the strand, and then you switch to another color and do a little bit of that strand, and so there's a lot of moving the strand around to try and use all of it, and saving smaller strands, and it can be a bit of a pain, but it's coming along. It looks gorgeous, so it's worth the effort. I'm going to be working on that over on Flutterdye's channel tonight for crafting stream, for anyone who wants to check that out. Doing good, finished chapter 5 of The Devastation yesterday morning, and now I'm working on the first of Arya's parts. Nice! That sounds awesome! We are going to finish, at least I am going to finish a novel on stream today. That's why words are small, because this is the ending. It's not going to end the way I initially thought it was going to end, which is okay. I might have to go back into the book and infuse a little bit more action into the end, but we'll worry about that. I think next week, probably Monday, maybe Monday morning, we're gonna sit down and I say we. I'm going to sit down and go through this outline again here on stream and just start marking all of the things that I think need changed. A few weeks ago, I distinctly remember saying that I wasn't sure about this project and I had mixed feelings about how it was going. I am pretty sure that the first draft is a train wreck. It's a new book in a new series with new characters. So it needs a lot of work to bring it to where I think it will be worth people reading. But I'm kind of excited because I can see the path through the insanity, and I can kind of see where if I move it around... Hey, Zark! Roll-con save DC 17. Is that just for surviving the morning? Because I won't succeed. I think I'm going to work on Gnome Rave today. Heck yeah! Nadia just drank the gnomish cocktail. That's too powerful for humans. Uh-oh! Is she gonna end up ultra drunk? Oh my gosh, I'm so sad that Halo Banshee isn't here, but there's an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that we really, really liked, and it was Daisy and Gemma were in space looking for Fitz, and they ate these little candy things that made them super high. And so the actresses were like just crawling around on the set trying to think, and they ended up just having like these really touching like conversations. It was super cool and super cute, but they were like totally just completely out of their minds high. Like it was so crazy. So yeah, I love stuff like that. I love when characters end up in situations where they do things that they wouldn't normally do. It was so good. It was I mean, we had some mixed feelings about the later seasons, the last 2 seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but that was a really, really good episode. And the actresses, like, I know something like that really depends on the performance of the actresses to pull off, like, believably being completely, like, just completely out of their minds. And they did a really good job. They did a really, really good job. So yeah, good luck to Nadia and her mushroom cocktail that she's just consumed. I'm gonna put on have some hand socks. I'm gonna put on some hand socks. You did! I was just saying that there was that episode where, it's like I summoned you by mentioning it, Halo Banshee. I was talking about the episode where Gemma and Daisy are looking for Fitz in space, and they eat the little candies and they get super high. And they're like, why are we here? And then they're like, girls' night! And it was we really liked that episode. It was such a good, little interlude with those two having their girls' night. And yes, Monkey Fitz! And just how, like, really good the actresses were at selling the idea that they were super high. I'm liking Arya already, and the main part of the story is starting to get into the crazier bit. Nice! That's awesome. So yeah, interlude aside, not tomorrow, oh my god, tomorrow's Saturday, I'm sleeping in. But definitely on, Monday, that's what I meant to say, we're gonna be going back through this outline, starting to make notes on how to change things around, trying to find an order to put things in that will drive the pace, because right now the pace just kind of meanders. And I definitely have places where I need to be cutting away to other things instead of sticking with the same scene in order to sort of increase the tension and make the book more interesting. So I'm hopefully gonna get a first round of thoughts for that on Monday. And what I usually do, my process is kind of, I go through and I do an initial outline, which we did already on stream. I try to write the book according to that outline. It inevitably ends up different. And so after I finish the first draft, I go back to my outline. I update my outline so that it actually matches what I wrote, first of all, because it's not helpful to me if it's out of date. And then I go through and make my initial impression notes, where it's just sort of having written the story once, what are my initial thoughts on what needs improvement and what should be changed and what should go where. And then I put it on the shelf for a while. This book is probably only going to go on the shelf for about a month and a half, because I would really, really like to edit it in December, hopefully on stream. Because we've done this whole book on stream. It would just be cool to do the whole thing on stream. So I would like to, sorry, I feel like I have to burp, but it's just not happening. With my larger projects, they usually go on the shelf for most of a year. But I would like to get this one edited by the end of this year if I can. So it would be nice to come back to it in December. But I do need some time away from it. I need some time to put it on a shelf and not really think about it and let it just sort of percolate in its own juices and see what comes to me. And so when I actually sit down to do the edits, I usually do a second round of editing notes, where at that point I have some distance from the story. I'm looking at it sort of more fresh. I might contradict some of my original notes, or I might have decided to go along with some of the stuff that I wrote down. So there'll basically be 2 note-taking sessions, but they'll be like a month and a half apart. And then hopefully before I leave in December for visiting my in-laws for Christmas, hopefully this book will be like 100% done. And then we can come back in January and make a cover for it. So that would be super cool, because then you guys would get to see basically the whole process of me creating the book, editing the book. I would love to do the first cover and the first formatting online as well, but those are future projects. Yesterday I was able to start the scene. I got wrapped up in trying to figure out the scenery and felt I wrote more than I did. That happens a lot, honestly, where you think, I've written like 500 words, and then you've written like 14. But I appreciated having you as a writing buddy. Well, I appreciate you hanging out, Maskling, and hopefully I can be your writing buddy again today, because I got 2 scenes in this book to finish. We're probably looking at around 3,000 to 4,000 words to finish things off. And I'm excited. I'm worried because I know this book needs a lot of work. It is a train wreck, but I'm excited to write the end of it and actually hopefully know how to fix it. Doing my best not to rush the writing, but I'm getting impatient and excited to get to the part where Loki takes out a bunch of zombies as a barrel. I can imagine... I always have scenes that I'm more excited to write than others, so it's hard sometimes to wait. Speaking of, AB Coffee, what do you have for us? Now I have to wait. I have to wait while AB Coffee furiously types. I read a sci-fi fantasy recently. It was about how humans are immortal by transferring consciousness into like lab-grown shell humans. Interesting. They have something like that in. I've been reading the classic Dune series. I don't know if you can see past the glare, by Frank Herbert. I'm on the last one, the last original one that he wrote before he died, which apparently ends on a cliffhanger. I'm looking forward to that. They have something like that in the Dune series, where one of the races, the Tlaxu, create what they call Golas, which are sort of clones that are made from like the dead cells of a past body, and then they resurrect their memories. It's really interesting. Not quite the same, but it's very interesting. It was a tad slow, but that's okay. But you all know I'm about cutting out the sex scene. It's like 90% of the time marketing and forced and not good. But I'm down for a good romp when it happens. This book needed one, and they didn't do it. Oh no, it was just like sexual tension. The characters were vulnerable, and it was so missed. I mean, you know, sometimes it just doesn't happen. I misheard that as the classic Dude series. No, Dune, Arrakis, by Frank Herbert. Super good series. What I will say about Dune is I have really loved reading it. The writing in the first few books is a train wreck. Clearly not head hopping was never really explained to him until later. But it's forgivable because for all that, like, the writing is a bit of a train wreck, the story is really good. And Paul Atreides is, like, one of the most fascinating characters I have ever read about. Like, I wish that there had been way, way more about him in any of the books. So Dune is, generational story. So, Paul is really only in the first couple books. And then it sort of becomes about the descendants of the Atreides. But he was such a fascinating character. I really, really liked him. Head hopping city, it basically is. Especially the first 3 books, I think, are really, really head hoppy. After that, he sort of settles down a little bit and figures it out. Paul was interesting. Leto 2 is like, why do you even exist? What is your... Leto 2 was very, I don't want to say interesting because he's definitely not as interesting as Paul. My brother-in-law, who absolutely loves the Dune series and recommended it to me, warned me about God Emperor of Dune. He was like, you have to read it for the rest of the series to make sense, but also it's really slow. And it kind of is. But I think the interesting thing about Leto, too, is trying to figure out what the fuck he was actually doing. Because the book never really tells you, I mean, not to spoiler or anything, the book never really tells you what he was actually trying to do. And there's a lot of speculation sort of in the wake of him where it's like people are trying to figure out what he was actually up to the whole time. And I think that's what's more interesting about Leto 2 isn't necessarily him, because he was really weird, but more like them trying to figure out WTF was he doing. I just love the idea of deity doing something out there like that, and Loki is the perfect one for it. Loki is a shapeshifter. Makes perfect sense. I'm trying to decide. I just have, like, the teeniest, tiniest, itty-bittiest little headache, and I'm trying to decide if it's worth taking ibuprofen. But maybe what I'll do instead is just try and get stuck in the writing. But man, it does suck AB Coffee if there was a really good opportunity for, like, a connection. I will say that, like, oh, thank you, Exiled Faye. Cheers. I will say that, like, I don't necessarily avoid indications that my characters are having sex. I don't necessarily write super steamy scenes in my main under my main name, but I won't necessarily avoid them, but I definitely don't go out of my way to, like, smush 2 characters together. I have read books where there are some really cringy, like, we gotta make it clear that these 2 are canoodling, and it's like, no, please, these 2 should never canoodle. It should never be brought up. The sexual tension is 100% forced. Please don't do this. I'm just gonna blow my nose quick. So yeah, that is interesting to have the opposite feeling about a book. All right. I've got to remember where I left off with this character. Luckily, we only wrote the scene that I'm picking up from yesterday. It's interesting because I have a really clear idea of what I want the second to last scene in the book to be. And a much less clear idea of what I want the last scene to be. But sometimes that be how it goes. Sometimes that how it be. 20 or chapter 21? No. Okay. I see where I've made the mistake. This is still the same chapter. I need to grab a break instead of a new header. My friends, shall we do some keyboard ASMR? Is it time? I always find it most challenging to write serious stuff on not Saturdays, on Fridays. So it takes me a little longer to get into the headspace, but I'm super excited about this scene, so let's see how it goes. All right. All right, 20 minutes on the clock. Hey, leader, how are you? Well, if it isn't the lady who performs word-based tasks. Yeah, we just started our first one for the day. My fingers and my brain aren't lining up again today. I'm thinking words, but I'm typing other stuff. Life is goof and also good. Good to hear. Life, it is best when life is goof, I think. Vibing, just got home from the bank and have some Dunkin' Donuts breakfast. Nice. Dunkin' Donuts always good. My brain never lines up with my hands. Like, I'm typing like double words. You guys can't see it because it's small. But I'm tripping over things I don't usually trip over. I'm sure it's because my brain is still waking up, but dang. We're all just a bunch of goofy goobers. Best way to be, honestly. Gonna go into lurk mode? No worries, have tons of fun, leader. Thank you so much for dropping in, and enjoy your lurk. Woof, hello, hello. How are you? I'm doing pretty good. It's a dreary morning, but I'm trying to get my brain in gear. Writing dream or hallucination scenes is fun. Oh, heck yeah. Anything where you can play with, like, the normal reality quite a bit is super fun to write. Like, any weird, crazy thing you think of, you're like, yeah, let's do that. Flashbacks can be interesting too, but dreams are nice because you don't have to follow, like, the laws of physics and stuff. Sorry, I don't know why I'm so sniffly today. Possibly the rain. Oh my goodness. Nose block. I don't know why I'm suddenly so sniffly, but it is raining here, like actively raining, so that could be why. That did not feel like 20 minutes, but apparently it was. And we wrote 1,026 words. I'm super happy. I'm actually very happy with this scene. I don't think it's going to be ultra long, which might be for the best, because I think the next scene needs to be a little bit longer. But I'm happy. I'm happy with that first writing session. How did it go for y'all who are writing? Please let me know if you wish. No pressure. But I would love to hear how words are flowing for you today. Oh, man. I think the main thing I need to figure out for this book... We are dancing with the wall. Nice. Does the wall look like a handsome or lovely person to dance with to the girl who has just drunken of the mushrooms? Does it look like her dream dato? Nice. Oh, I love that. Man, it's like when Halo Banshee mentioned monkey fits. Like, they really committed to making that scene in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. like, to being like, no, they're absolutely 100% high. So, normally in a show like that, that's more of kind of like a family show, I would expect them to not quite go that far, but they did, and it was great. It was chef's kiss. I might, at this point, take a quick 2-minute break, just because I need to reheat my coffee and blow my nose again, which is annoying, but I'll do that off camera. And I might just, because I don't really want to deal with a headache this morning, I might just take a quick ibuprofen just to stave it off. So I won't be gone long. I know we haven't been streaming super a lot because it was late and this is an early break. But it's just a quickie. I will BRB. We'll talk a bit more and we'll run our second sprint. So just give me 2 minutes. Sorry about that, guys. Got a lurk for now. Good luck. Thank you, Woof. Really appreciate it. I got the bit where Arya's good buddy Brant is first introduced. Nice. Had the unending snot the other day with no other symptoms. I joked that something must have crawled up my nose. It sucks. I know. Whoops. The timer's going without me. I know the last time we had like a big storm, I had an ocular migraine. Which if you guys have never had an ocular migraine, great, because they're awful. But I basically just for anyone who doesn't know, an ocular migraine involves it's hard to describe, but it's basically like a crescent of like jagged lines. Like it almost looks like a half circle of haze, like in your vision, like blurry haze in your vision, and then it like crackles with rainbow light. It's really weird. It's really terrifying the first time you have one. I don't get them very often, but about a month, maybe a month and a half ago, I had one. And afterwards, I just had the worst headache. And then it rained later that night. So the reason I kind of wanted to pop off and take an ibuprofen is just in case I have a pressure headache building. I'd rather it didn't sort of hit me in the middle of writing something, because I really, really do want to get this book done today. I've been checking the pressure, though, in our area, and it had leveled out. It had leveled out a bit, I think, because the rain actually started. So hopefully, I don't know if I can show you guys without, like, without making it, show my town. But this is kind of the, this is the, curve of what's, basically what the pressure has been doing. So that is October 19th, at around, I think midnight-ish. And then it was just this huge drop for like 2 days. So when it looks like this is when the headaches happen. And last night there was a big drop. So today it's leveled out a bit more. I'm hoping that means less headache, less dizziness, less pressure related stuff, but I don't want to get a headache in the middle of writing. So a little bit of ibuprofen to just keep my sinuses happy, and here we are. This, the one on my desktop, I wish I could claim any credit for it. But it's gorgeous. I have a rotating background. I think these are like fantasy ships that are fighting. I get the weird floaty dark bits in my vision sometimes and I hate them. Yeah, I don't get that very often. It's a different sort of thing. This is almost like, if you know when you get your picture taken and you see that little, and you blink and you see that little flash of light from the camera still on your eye. They're called retinal echoes. Ocular migraines start out kind of like that. It's almost like a retinal echo that won't go away, but then it starts to expand. Like it actually stretches out. And I've looked up Google images of this before. The first time I had one, I kind of thought I was dying. So it's hard to find good pictures, but this is kind of what it looks like for me. So, and it can happen on either side. So sometimes they happen in the left eye, sometimes they happen in the right eye. And it kind of ends up looking a lot like this. It starts out as sort of this kind of just like blur along your vision, and then it starts sort of almost flashing jagged colors, and then it eventually just sort of, it also kind of almost looks like this, really really wacky, really crazy. And then it sort of slowly spreads out until it hits the very edge of your vision, and then it sort of slowly drifts back. And usually what happens is, which is kind of reassuring, because if I'm starting to get a headache now, it's probably not an ocular migraine. But usually what happens is the visual happens first. And so it lasts about 20 minutes. It's very hard to read during that time, so it's very hard to write during that time. Because looking at any like bright surface makes it much more noticeable. And then once it starts to hit the edge of the vision and the visual part is almost done, that's when the headache hits. And it's usually pretty nasty. I know people who have had way worse migraines than I ever have had. Like, I've never been to the emergency room for a migraine. I've never been puking my guts out for a migraine. I usually just end up laying in the dark for about half an hour until it starts to feel, until I start to feel like steadier again. But it's very disconcerting to have this weird jagged line in your vision. So yeah, when I start to feel like the edges of a pressure headache, sometimes I'm like, okay, I don't want that to turn into a migraine, so let's just take something. And I get them maybe like once every 2 years, so I probably won't have another one anytime soon. But I'd just rather not. Every time I feel like I have a migraine, I remember that really I've never had one, and it's just a headache because my body isn't collapsing on itself. Yeah, I only know that I've had migraines because that's what these are. They're called ocular migraines. They are a form of migraine. I guess that means I'm technically susceptible to other forms of migraine, but I'm very lucky in that I've never had other forms of migraine. And like I said, I know people who end up like half the day on the bathroom floor because they're so dizzy and puking their guts out and they're in so much pain. So I know I'm lucky. But I do get these from time to time. And I'm lucky too in that ocular migraines come with a warning. Like, the visual part starts first. So I know that I'm going to end up with a headache in roughly 20 minutes time. But it is one of the reasons why both of my monitors, I don't have it turned on right now. If my head starts to hurt more, I will. But both of my monitors have a blue light filter. And I actually purposefully bought these monitors because they're designed to be easy on the eye, and because I spend a lot of time staring at bright background with black text, and I used to get a lot of eye strain. So my wife turned me onto blue light filter glasses. Yes, I almost got a blue light filter on my glasses, but I don't wear them when I'm working because I'm nearsighted. So I need them for far away. I don't need them for up close. And my eye doctor told me, because I actually asked, I was like, do I need to wear my glasses all the time? Or if I feel like I don't need them, can I take them off? And he was like, no, if you're sitting at your computer and you feel like you don't need your glasses, then you don't have to wear them. So I ended up not getting them, but I do have blue light filters on both of my screens. And so whenever I start to feel like a headache coming on or an ocular migraine or anything like that, or if I start to get eye strain, which is that little tick in your eyelid, if you ever feel that little sort of heartbeat pulse in your eyelid, that is eye strain. And so that I turn on my blue light filters for that. It softens the screens a bit, gives my eyes a bit of a break. But real talk, while we're talking about eye health, for every 20 minutes that you look at a screen, it might be even less than that, you should look up and look at somewhere more distant. Give your eyes a chance to, and so you guys will see me sometimes, like I'll look up or I'll look to the side. I'm looking at the wall, I'm looking at my pictures, I'm looking at the window because it gives your eye a break. your eyes, not just singular eye. It gives them both a break. And if you do get that ticking, one thing that you can do that really helps it is if you close your eyes and sort of do like an eye roll, like roll your eyes very slowly 3 times to the left or to the right. That can ease the strain on the muscle. But definitely, if you start to get eye strain during the day, make sure that you're getting some screen break time. I learned the hard way that 14 hours at a computer every day is really bad for your eyes. And if you find that you're getting eye strain consistently each day, it's really important to just give your eyes a chance to break. I do that anyway because my brain is very distractible. I mean, it's good. It's good for your eyes. Especially for us writers, the big things that we need to think about that we don't think about because we push ourselves is you need to take care of your eyes, you need to take care of your hands. So you need to give your arms breaks, you need to give your hands breaks, and you need to give your eyes breaks. And one thing that can be also really bad for the eyes is white text on a black background, which I know a lot of people prefer darker backgrounds and lighter text, especially when they're working on a computer, but it can actually be, again, quite bad for your eyes. So just be careful, whatever settings you're using. Try not to read in the dark on a bright screen with a light off. That's bad for you too. And if you feel that eye strain coming on, just give your eyes a break. I'm annoyed more by my nigh constant eye twitch. It's not tiredness really or stress related, but it's worsened by them. Yeah. So really anything that is like exacerbated by strain or stress, unfortunately, the only way to mitigate is to have like regular breaks. I hate it sometimes too, because I always get that tick. I hope does it mean I have to have an injection to fix it? Oh gosh, Maskling, me too. My brother-in-law, ghost brother, has to get injections in his eye from an injury, and it squicks me out super bad. I mean, they give him numbing so that he doesn't feel it, but ugh. Yeah, eye injections, not fun. I love my dark mode. Yeah, well, and if you do like dark mode, I'm not saying never use dark mode, right? I mean, I'm using dark mode for reading chat right now. But give your eyes a break, right? Look away, go for a walk. Even if you just walk around your house for a few minutes and just look at something that's not a bright screen, sometimes that's all it takes. He kind of doesn't have a choice, Maskling. If he doesn't get those injections, the pressure in his eyes will cause damage. So, I mean, I think he's brave too, but it's also a kind of, you need to do this sort of thing. Laser eye beam surgery isn't too bad, a tad uncomfy, but I could see afterwards. I have feelings about laser eye surgery. I don't think I could do it, but if you did it, that's awesome. Could never get eye injections. Regular shots are bad enough. I know. Anytime that we watch like a sci-fi show and they put a needle anywhere near the eye, I'm like, no, I'm done. I can't handle this. Call me when it's over. I use dark mode and gray background on Google Drive. It's helped tremendously and it feels weird whenever I use white one. Yeah, no. A gray background is much more different than a black background. Dark text on a gray background can actually be very good for your eyes because it's not as shockingly bright. Anything that is high contrast, so black on white and white on black, can both be equally eye straining. But again, can't stress this enough. If you have settings that do not strain your eyes, use those. Because you know you, right? White text on black physically hurts me. Yeah. So if you're using different settings and you know that those are not straining your eyes, 100% do that. I just think that most people aren't aware, because I wasn't aware, that even the default, like, black text on a white screen, like, that can be very challenging to your eyes. Black text on gray, got a nice font that works for me. Perfect. Yeah. Theoretically, black text on gray is the best for your eyes. But again, everybody's eyes are different. So you know you, and do what works for you. So, and I mean, it's not to say that like dark mode on Twitch is a bad thing, because it is a good thing in that, like, if I just use theater mode, so the image takes up most of the screen. But if you're using anything where it's like you have the video and then you have white around the video, that bright white can be bad for your eyes too. So dark mode has its advantages, but just be careful reading too much black text or too much white text on a black screen, because it can do the same thing. That's my service announcement for today. Take care of yourselves, friends. Stretch, hydrate, look away from your screen every now and then. I think writers are particularly, I think this goes for any creative person too, artists, anyone who tends to get, might you share my advice, or your settings? Feel free to share whatever you want, Maskling. What was I saying? I think we creatives are very prone to pushing ourselves past our limits and ignoring our limits, in favor of the setup. Yes, perfect. Thank you, Maskling. I appreciate. Oh, that is very, very comfortable. I can see why you use that. Yes. Very nice. I don't know if I can adjust the word settings, but I kind of feel like I should go in and fiddle with that at some point. But yeah, I think we as creatives are very prone to, like, we train ourselves to get focused on something, to stay focused on that thing, to not waste time and all that kind of stuff, which is good. But you can hit a point where you go in the opposite direction and you're too focused and you're working too much and you're ignoring your needs and you're ignoring your body's fatigue in favor of getting the work done, right? So I think it's important to remind people, like, yeah, focus is good, but also take breaks, stretch, walk around, look at something that isn't a bright light for a little while. And like, genuinely, if your body is doing something that tells you, hey, this hurts, it's okay to listen to that. Because I had not carpal tunnel, but cubital tunnel, which is these fingers instead of these fingers, went numb on me because I was spending 14 hours a day typing in a non-ergonomic position, and it sucked. And because I pinched a nerve in my elbow, every now and then my arms are still sensitive to that. So if I have a really heavy typing day, every now and then I still feel a tiny little bit of that pinch, a tiny little bit of that numbness. It will be with me forever. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. If you start to feel achy, if you start to feel tingly, take care of yourself, because you don't want the thing that you love doing to be painful. Public service announcement. All right, let's do words. Let's do more clicky clackies. Oh my goodness. My brain said, you know what? You're done talking. I get something like that because of the nerve damage to my index finger from getting shocked by Maine's electric 4 years ago. Oh my gosh, Maskling. I hope you're okay. Fingers never worked the same since. Yeah, the body remembers. Like, unfortunately, I think sometimes we do stuff in innocence, and then we don't realize, oh, this is gonna hurt me in old age. My limbs have always had random moments of numbness. I always attribute it to my motor dysfunction. Yeah, that's possible, Laurel. If you have something like that, it probably does come from that. But you still need to make sure that you're stretching and walking around and taking care of yourself. Emperor of Finland, hello, how are you? I don't even have time to write much now. I get that, Emperor of Finland. I mean, obviously, if you have limited time, you want to make use of it, but don't murder yourself doing it. The middle finger on that hand is now dominant, and this can be tricky if I point with that one by mistake. Oh gosh. I can imagine maskling. But I also hope people understand, like, if they know that you've had an injury, hopefully they're like, hopefully they don't get on your case about it. Alright, so that was a short scene, but like I said, I think pretty good. 1,561 for that. And now we're on the last chapter. The one that I'm not entirely sure what to do with, but we'll see how it goes. That should be 21. Caedmon, hello, how are you? Good to see you. That sounds kind of like how Arya sometimes gets flack after her injury to her right arm. People think she's faking since she can still move the wrist and elbow somewhat. They don't look at the fact that sometimes you can still have a bit of mobility after limb injury. That is true. Sometimes it's really hard to tell when other people are in pain because they look normal to you and you don't know. So you should never, ever, ever judge anybody for taking care of their injuries because you don't know what that feels like to them. Saw an okay film today, Scream 5. Oh my goodness. That's one of the scary ones, right, Caedmon? I don't do scary movies very often, but my husband loves them. It isn't all scary from the first one to this. Okay. So was this one a scary one, or was this one not scary enough? Give us the rating. Exciting and a bit scary? Okay. I'm assuming you prefer it if it's scary. I favor oldies like 80s horror films. I know my husband likes that kind of stuff too. Some horror movies are so good. I suggest you should see them. I don't like to be scared, so I usually don't do horror. It's just not my jam. But my husband is really into that kind of stuff. Sorry, I just want to finish this sentence before... I know the timer's gonna run out, but let me finish the sentence. Perfect. I've discovered an interesting project called Dead Drops. There's a site that has more info than I can supply, which is basically a digital offline dead drop project where anyone can upload or download files using a USB drive and a wall. But it sounds fascinating and fun, and done right could give us an alternative should the internet shut down. Interesting. Yes, my husband is more into horror movies than I am. Yes, just because I've never really liked being anxious or scared. So I've only ever watched very few horror movies in my life, and I kind of have a tolerance threshold beyond which I have nightmares and I just can't. So unfortunately, Alien and Aliens I've seen and I'm totally cool with. They don't scare me, I think because it feels more sci-fi. But The Omen and Poltergeist I cannot do. I think it's the supernatural thing. I don't know exactly where my threshold is, but my husband is really good at like watching something and saying, yes, you could handle this. No, you can't handle this. I don't know if it counts as horror, but that short that they released on Disney Plus, Werewolf by Night, which is kind of like an homage to old monster movies, old monster movies. I really liked that. I really liked the look and feel of it. I thought it was gorgeous, and I kind of hope they do more with that. But that's kind of like where my tolerance level is. Total Sapphic Panic, how are you? I'm doing pretty good. We're actually finishing a book today, which is going to be awesome. It is dreary and rainy here, but just, looking at the silver lining. That sounds very interesting. I feel like a lot of people think the internet is going to be around forever, because it was kind of designed to be resistant to, single point fault failure. So it is interesting to think that people are starting to create what comes after. When it comes to horror, the only ones I seem able to cope with are vampires and werewolf films. Yeah, I'm more in that area too. Like, I think it's because I've talked about this on stream before, so I'm not ashamed to admit it. I have had what can only be described as supernatural or paranormal experiences. I don't entirely know if I believe in ghosts or that sort of thing, but I consider myself to be a very intellectual person, and I have had experiences that I cannot explain logically. There's no... And not just myself, I have shared these experiences with other people and discussed at length what we all remember from those experiences, and we cannot explain it any way other than something weird or supernatural, something unnatural occurred. So I think that watching like ghost movies or anything that's like paranormal really triggers those memories in me, and they give me nightmares is the main problem. So I can handle like werewolves and that sort of thing. But if someone's gonna like bend over backwards and scrabble like a crab, I can't. That's a no. I'm a baby when it comes to spooks movies. I either laugh uncontrollably or jump scare everywhere. Yeah. It's interesting though because I can watch 13th Warrior without flinching, and that is a pretty like gory movie, but I can't do scares. I've had paranormal experiences too, yeah. And I have shared some of those experiences with friends. Like, logically, I would love somebody to come in and science the shit out of those experiences and explain to me what happened, but we have never been able to figure out some of that stuff. I think we've learned that everything can be barred or bought or put behind a paywall. People have pacemakers whose function is behind a paywall, so why not freedom of information? I definitely feel like IP locking was one of the worst things we ever invented. There was a time in my wild and crazy youth when the internet was for everyone, and now everything is locked behind fake borders, and that doesn't make sense to me, but I don't run the internet, so... From Hell is about a police investigator played by Johnny Depp who investigates the horrific famous murders around Whitecap, London. I can look into it. I can definitely see if I think that's within my threshold. My stance on all of that is unexplained by the messes we had at this juncture. Yeah, I'm perfectly open to someday science figuring out what the fuck happened to us a few times in our youth. But I definitely, From Hell is about Jack the Ripper. Oh, interesting. I did watch, what was it called? The Ninth Gate. I've always really liked The Ninth Gate, which is more demon-y, but I always found it very interesting. But yeah, like, oh, sorry. Stretchy stretch. Yeah, I definitely, like, I'm not gonna sit here and say unequivocally ghosts are real because I don't necessarily know if I believe that, but I also can't say unequivocally ghosts are not real because I don't know. I genuinely don't know. From Hell is like demon-y Bible horror. I might be able to handle that. What's that movie that is shown all through security cam footage? I probably can't watch it, so I probably don't know. I don't really do found footage films usually. They usually scare me too much. My stance on ghosts is complicated. Same, Maskling, honestly. And you can share if you want to, no pressure, no judgment. I'm one of those people who's had enough weird experiences in my life that when people come to me and say, this weird thing happened, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty weird. And I'm not gonna be like, I'm never gonna look at someone and be like, no, you're being silly, because I have had things, and Flutter and I were talking about this, I think on stream like a week or two ago, like, she and I had a mutual friend whose house that we used to stay at a lot, and every evening, every time we were ever there, this happened. It was around, I think, like 2:30 in the morning. Something very strange would happen in the kitchen of her house. And I can't really explain it because it doesn't really make sense. But it was like you could feel, if you were in the kitchen, even if you were alone at that time of day, you felt like something was in there with you. And it felt like you could like trace its movements, and if everybody sat down and described their experience differently, or individually, which we did several times, like, we all felt the same things, we all experienced the same things. It was terrifying. And everyone in her household had that experience. Her parents had that experience. People in her family who visited had that experience. Like, anyone who stayed over in that house ever had the same experience. And we've never been able to explain it. We don't know what it was. A lot of people just believe, like, a lot of people that we talked to just believed that house was haunted. But it was pretty weird, and it was pretty scary. No security cameras, hardly any electrical light in 1888. Blair Witch put me to sleep. I don't think I could watch Blair Witch. I believe places can be haunted, but ghosts themselves, the big blanket-shaped ooze. Yeah. Yeah. I had a spirit comfort me at a funeral, so I believe in them. Yeah, see, exactly. Like, some people have had... And I mean, when we were in England, we did a bunch of ghost tours because every place over there is supposedly haunted, and there's some really interesting stories. I've been in a house people said was haunted a late evening during a film shoot during my media school in early 2000, and I felt something. Yeah, when I in my original hometown, I worked at a metaphysical store that we thought was haunted. And I actually, they had ghost hunters come in, and I actually got to be there, like, that night. And it's not as exciting as it is on TV, because you're basically just sitting in a dark room waiting for something to happen. But it's very interesting. And again, at that store, I had several experiences that I cannot explain. Like, I walked past a shelf and was quite distant from it, and something was knocked off the shelf, not in a vertical way, but in, like, a horizontal way. Like, it came off the shelf like this, and then fell, instead of going... And it didn't have the weight to... Like, it didn't make any sense unless something had physically batted it off the shelf, but there was nothing there. There was no one else in the store. It was only me. I don't, like... And maybe my memory of it is exaggerated, but, like, I've definitely had some weird things happen where I've been like, I can't explain this. I don't know what happened. I can explain all of these occurrences with one word. Sure? I mean, you kind of have to be there and feel, like, the energy in the room at the time, right? I don't know if all of it can be explained. How would... Okay, I was gonna say, magnets, how do they work? No one knows. Just grabbed a Wikipedia database dump file, and I'll also grab a dump reader and put that on one of the dead jobs. Interesting. I also believe places and people can be haunted by happenings as well as actual spirits. I mean, from what I know about hauntings, and again, grain of salt this, because I don't know my true stance on hauntings, but it's usually people that are haunted. I mean, places can be haunted too, but, like, if you live in a haunted house and you move, oftentimes the haunting goes with the people. So, I don't know. I will say I have not had a specifically paranormal experience for at least the last decade. And I'm not sad about it. But when I was younger, I did have several. Although I also have learned in my adulthood that I have sleep paralysis. And I often wonder now, looking back, how much of my experience... I know the stuff in my friend's house was not sleep paralysis because we were all awake during those events. Like, we were all awake and able to communicate during those events. But I definitely was afraid of some things in my house growing up that I'm pretty sure now were sleep paralysis, because one of the symptoms of sleep paralysis is seeing elongated shadows. And I used to be afraid of a shadow creature that I thought lived in my closet when I was very young. And now I'm like, oh, you know what? I probably had sleep paralysis, and I probably, because the closet was near my bed, I probably thought that I dreamed about a monster, but I just had sleep paralysis. So, like, stuff like that. There have been some of my experiences that I can retroactively explain, but not all of them. And learning what sleep paralysis is was a game changer, because I realized that many of my freaky experiences, I used to have these very vivid dreams that someone would slip into our apartment, when Ghost and I's first apartment, while he was at work, and they were these long shadow creatures that would try to choke me. And I realized later that it was sleep paralysis. That's what I was experiencing. And since then, I've been able to cope with it much more, because I can realize when it's happening. I want to see a good haunted house movie, see The Conjuring. I don't generally watch haunted house movies. That's similar to my thoughts on haunted places. Great acts of violence or tragedy can haunt or linger about somewhere. Yeah, that's what many people think. And it makes sense to me. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what happens after we die. I don't know how energy exactly works. I'm open to the idea that haunting can be a real thing. Because I've definitely had experiences I can't explain. I hate sleep paralysis. It's not the most fun. I mean, but I do think if you know what it is, it's easier to not panic because you can realize what's happening and wait for it to pass. Whereas when I was younger, I would have these, I thought they were dreams, and I would try to wake up and I couldn't wake up because I couldn't move because you're paralyzed during sleep paralysis, right? Your body can't react right away. And so now I know to just be calm and breathe, and I will be able to move soon. But when I didn't know that, it was kind of terrifying. One weird dream is that my apartment was full of babies who talked like adults. That would be kind of freaky. I've never had any nightmares I remember, but sometimes I can have such weird dreams. Yeah, and I mean everyone's different. Sometimes I have a nightmare and I wake up from the nightmare and I think about what was in the nightmare and I'm like, that was the world's stupidest nightmare. But at the time, while I was sleeping, it terrified me. Babies terrify me in real life. If they talked, I would die. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff I could just talk about for hours because it's interesting to me to think back on my experiences through an adult filter and to realize the times, like I can definitely pinpoint times when I was, 10, 11, 12, when I probably was experiencing sleep paralysis. But at the time I was just afraid of like monsters in my closet. But then I also have some experiences from when I was a teenager where even when I apply the adult filter, I'm like, I don't know what that was. I have seen Tremors. Ghost loves Tremors. It's like his favorite movie. So I have seen that one. I will say I have this real soft spot for like really like bad movies that are like so bad that they're good. I have only seen the first one. But Ghost loves the Tremors series. It's like one of his favorite things ever. I have allowed myself to get a tiny bit distracted here. Let's see actually how many words did we do in the last sprint. We finished one scene and started another one. I think we started there. Ooh, 1,101 words. Nice. So the new scene is about 500 words, and the previous scene was about 1,500. Perfect. So we're on our last sprint to the end here to get this book finished. I think I'm going to take a quick bio break, just because an hour has slipped past without me noticing. How's the book coming along? It's going great. We're on the final scene. I do think I need to try and infuse a little bit of action into this scene, so I'm going to be keeping that in mind while I'm going through. I have one sort of big confrontation to write here, and then I'm going to be wrapping up, sort of get that, like, we finished this adventure onto the next one kind of feeling for the book. And then we'll be done! So hopefully in the next hour or so we can do a couple more sprints and get this finished. I have not seen Child's Play. I don't think I could handle that. I know Ghost has seen it though, and he hates dolls. I want to use my points for a lore drop, but I want to wait for a good time. I'll tell you what, Maskling, if you're going to be sticking around for a few minutes, we can do a lore drop when I get back from break. Just let me know which of my projects you would like to have some lore from. I should only be away like 2-3 minutes, and I shall be back. Oops, I lost my button. I have returned. I am here. This brings me to my thoughts on beliefs versus science. I'm fairly similar, Laurel. I don't see why spirituality and science can't exist side by side. I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think there are lots of things that we don't know about the universe, and I'm excited to learn. Although I don't know how much we'll learn in my lifetime. Came up with a pretty nice plot for a story. Caedmon, do you want to share it? Oh gosh, I went really high-pitched there. No pressure, but if you would like to tell us about it, please feel free. Maskling, if you're still here and you would like to learn some lore, let me know. We'll do that before the next Spront. I know there's a stream delay, so I'll chill for a second. Completely new to your works, but I would appreciate a lore drop from the book that you feel best encapsulates, highlights your series. Oh gosh. Let's do a piece of lore from the Celestial Serenade, because the newest book of the Celestial Serenade, book 6, is coming out on Monday, actually. The pre-order is up on Amazon. I'm not choosing this one just so I can do an ad, #ad, but I feel like in terms of my multiverse and of the books that I have out right now that you can actually read, Celestial Serenade is the one that will eventually integrate most closely into my overall multiverse. It's kind of the prologue of the extended multiverse for anyone who wants to keep an eye out for that overall stuff that ends up coming together. And I think one of the most interesting things about the Kalterans, who are one of the major players in the Celestial Serenade, is that they consider themselves to be an enlightened scientific society. They mostly have put the old ways, the old religions behind them, but there is one holdover from the before times, which is that the Kalterans believe that certain people within their society are born with what they call the Eye of the Oracle. They can see the future. Oracles are taken from their homes when they are identified and protected by the government. They are raised pretty much in luxury. They're basically raised in a conclave with other oracles in the hopes that they will form attachments with other oracles. I think my white noise might not be working properly. Let me reload this while I'm talking. And they do this to hopefully encourage the passing on of the oracle gene. And I find it curious that as far as I've read, we haven't met the Revali. Yes, isn't that interesting? How far have you read Exiled Fae? Because I can assure you that you definitely do meet some Revali characters at some point. But it's very interesting that the Kalterans have such a heavy belief in the oracles, because the genesis of the oracles sort of comes from an old myth, and the myth is thus. One of the gods, Vesperia, the goddess of air and oracle, when basically the Kalteran myth of creation states that Chendrin, the god of earth and of destruction, was the only one who knew the secret to creating life. He created the Kalterans. Sorry, my white noise is suddenly not cooperating. He created the Kalterans, but he also destroyed many, many things. Or he didn't create the Kalterans. He created many things, but he also destroyed them because he was the only one who could make, and he decided that he could just destroy whatever he wanted. So his siblings got pretty pissed off about this, and they eventually fought him and put him to sleep. And when they put him to sleep, Vesperia stole the ability to create from Chendrin, and very much like a toddler, and created the Kalterans from his secret magic. And when she created the Kalterans, she placed her hand upon certain foreheads in order to grant her chosen ones the third eye. And so even though the Kalterans have ceased to believe in the old ways and the old religions, they still believe that the blessing of Vesperia is a gene that is passed on through all the Kalterans, and so they still believe that there are people born who can see the future. And if you are reading the books, then you will know that one character, Alrea, is such an individual. She has the Eye of the Oracle. So I hope that was interesting. I hope that was what you're looking for, Maskling. Just a little taste of the Kalteran mythology. I actually created an entire pantheon and an entire mythology to go with that series, and little bits and pieces of it get spread throughout the book. But the oracles are very, very important to the Kalterans because they believe that the oracles will guide them to the proper future, even though they are a scientific and advanced society. Well, thank you for asking. I appreciate it. Also, Cademon, did not forget, saw your post. My plot is about a series of murders who seem to be a copycat of the famous Whitechapel murders from 1988, taking place in the same spots as the historical murders. That sounds very interesting, Cademon. That is a time period that I think people are very very interested in. So I think that would be very interesting. It's not something that I know a ton about, but I'd still think I would be interested in reading it. 1888, so I did read it right, even though I read it wrong. I know just enough about like that time period, and I think those specific murders, that I would be very interested in reading the story. Even though it's not my usual genre. So yes, just started book 5, Exiled Fae. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. You will get your wish, I promise. No spoilies, but you will get your wish. One of the victims was Swedish. I did not know that. I assume we're talking about Jack the Ripper, or that same era. I know a little bit about the history of it. I know more about the lore, the expanded, because people have been fascinated by Jack the Ripper and speculation about Jack the Ripper. So I do know about some of the speculation and some of the theories and some of the stuff that other people have done with the Jack the Ripper story. But I don't know a lot of the actual facts. So I imagine that would be very interesting. Who was very tall? Oh, the victim that was Swedish? Interesting. Interesting. All right, that done. I think we're going to do... yeah, feel free to drop the Wikipedia link, Cademon. I probably won't look at it now, because I'm going to do another sprint. I'm going to try to get this story wrapped up. Wikipedia says she was I'm 5'2". I don't feel tall at all. I was gonna say, I am very small. What is happening? No, why does my white noise keep... It just did that thing where it was working fine, and then it reloaded. Why is it like this? Why must you do this to me? Okay. Sprint! Sprint before the white noise dies again. I'm 6'1", and I'm slightly disappointed. That you're 6'1"? She was 5'5". Okay, so she was taller than me. I'm 5'2", and I'm small. Although it was interesting because I was talking to Aaron on one of Sable's streams, and he was like, 5'2" isn't that short. And I was like, but everyone that Ghost works with is taller than me. And so I mentioned that to him, and he was like, yeah, most of the people I work with are very tall. What is happening with my white noise? Oh my god. I'm gonna have to reopen it, aren't I? I don't understand. It keeps working for like 30 seconds and then randomly reloading the page. I shouldn't have touched it. Gremlin. I know! They need to stop touching my iPad. Yeah, so then Ghost was like, yeah, actually, I do work with a lot of really tall people. And I was like, okay, thanks for letting me feel short. All right, I'm gonna start the sprint. I'm gonna pray that my white noise sticks around, and if it doesn't, I don't know, I'll just cry. All right, let's see what we get up to in the next 20 minutes. Feel free to keep talking in the chat. Just because I get quiet doesn't mean you guys have to. I'm watching some old spy cartoons. Gods, they were not shy about on-screen death in 1995. Yeah, it was a different time, the 90s. I don't know how I got my height genes. Apparently they're Dutch people somewhere in the 1800s, so maybe I'm a throwback. Maybe. I've just gotten used to being short. It's fine. I get ghosts to get the tall things for me. Enjoy your lurk, Exiled Faye. Thank you so much for hanging out. Arya has a raven friend to get the tall things for her. Nice! I would love to have a raven friend. Ravens are very smart, actually. And I know that if you are nice to ravens in the wild, they will bring you gifts. Ravens and crows, man, are super, super smart and don't get enough credit. Caca. Just found the name of a pirate that seems too fantastical to be real. Hendrik Lucifer? Interesting. Hendrik Jacobson Lucifer. Interesting. Was most likely used as a nickname due to his use of fire and smoke to surprise enemies. That would make sense. It wasn't his given name, it was his adopted name. I have returned. My little sister needed someone to talk to while getting ready for her date. No worries. It's so sweet of you that you were helping her get ready for her date. I hope she has a good time. I think we are going to need one more sprint to finish this book, but we're getting close. We're getting so very close. Marathon, I got your glasses. Well, I got my glasses right here. Cheers, Barefoot Turtle. How are you? Also, Marathon, how are you? I mean, I remember children's shows. I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s. And I grew up on the old, like, Bugs Bunny cartoons, the ones that people started to complain were not very good for children, and, like, Yosemite Sam and Roadrunner and, like, all that kind of stuff, which I know there were probably worse. There were probably worse things than that stuff on TV. Ren and Stimpy. I never got into Ren and Stimpy, but it was running when I was that age. Yeah, stuff like that. Like, they used to not really care. I mean, I also grew up on Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which I loved as a kid, but in retrospect, like, man, that movie maybe shouldn't have been for kids. Enjoying my evening? Glad to hear it, Marathnon. So yeah, I definitely watch stuff on TV that they wouldn't show kids now. So, it was a much, children's programming was much different in the early 90s. Yeah, 90s cartoons were a different breed of entertainment, most certainly. Most certainly. My brothers, so there's 4.5 years between me and my middle brother. And so my brothers grew up in, like, an entirely different age of TV. They grew up in the Pokemon age, the Disney cartoon age. Like, they grew up on Darkwing Duck and Biker Mice from Mars and, like, all that kind of stuff. They were more the SpongeBob SquarePants generation than I was. So, like, even just in that time frame, there was a change, and it's changed even more from that now. Off to sleep, my brain is sleepy while coming up with book titles. No problem, Angel Faye, thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you have a great day. I know it's much later in your day than it is for me, so please take care. Yeah, it's always interesting looking back over, like, how things have changed in your life, and there was definitely... When I was young, they were starting to have a lot of that push, a lot of that conversation about, like, changing children's programming and how violence would affect young children and how violence in movies would affect young children. I grew up in the age of, like, those original live-action Ninja Turtle movies, which I loved as a kid. See you on your next stream. See you next week, Angel Faye. I think I'll be back Monday morning. Hopefully be back Monday morning. Aaron, hello! I'm doing pretty good. How are you? I'm about to finish a book. Hopefully in the next sprint. So we'll see. It's not going the way I planned, but I think it's going well. I'm trying to incorporate the lesson that the main character is supposed to learn, maybe. My characters have not been acting the way I expected them to, but we'll see. How are you? What are you up to? If we were just talking about early 90s television shows and how they don't show that stuff to kids anymore. Better than good? Nice! Oh my goodness. Is it raining up in your area, Aaron? It's been raining all day here, and it's so gray, and it's so dreary, and I don't necessarily hate it, but a little bit of sunlight would be nice. My characters are always sassy, which I don't mind. I kind of felt like there needed to be a big fight at some point, like a big action scene at some point near the end here. I might have to go back and insert it earlier in the book. These are all editing things. We'll do that stuff on Monday. I'm just kind of going with the flow here and doing whatever feels right for these scenes. Because I know that I'm winding down on this book, and I'll fix it in edits. Raining there too. I hope the sun comes out at some point. It'd be nice. I generally don't mind rain, but this isn't like the cool kind of rain. It's like the drizzly, cloudy, gray kind of rain. I either want like no rain or like a really good, hard, soaking rain. In case anyone is wondering, I live about 40 miles north of Stryker. Yes! Aaron and Sable live near us, and we're trying to get a time to get together and hang out before all the craziness of November hits, because I know you guys are both going to be really busy in November. It is, yeah. This is the not great kind of rain where it's like, ugh, just decide if you want to be a sunny day or a rainy day, but don't be like neither. So, finally got game development done. Nice, Emperor of Finland. Glad to hear it. Oh my goodness. I'm kind of nervous about the next sprint. I'm kind of nervous about wrapping this book up. I mean, excited, but nervous. I've had a roller coaster ride with this project for sure. It's been not what I expected it to be, which I guess I should expect by now. Like, no project ever goes exactly how you expect it to go. But I'm just kind of hoping that I can pull it to an ending point. You can do it? Oh, thank you, Aaron. I hope so. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna give it my best shot. It's sunny where I am, but chilly. Yeah, it's been cooling down here as well, which I don't mind. I mean, I got my hand socks on. I obviously, this is my aesthetic. The hoodie, hand socks, like blanket aesthetic is my jam. But it can get really, because we live near mountains, right? We live in a valley. So on days like this where it's really gray and really dreary, it can just feel like it kind of closes in on you, and it feels a little, not necessarily claustrophobic, but it can feel a little like oppressive if you don't get to see the sky. Do you use rainy mood? I don't. What is rainy mood, Maskling? Aaron is half Yeti. Nice. Appreciate. Sunny plus chilly equals perfect. Yeah. I mean, I'll take a nice cool rainy day, but I do like it when the sun comes out and lets me see oh, rainy mood for sleep and study. I will have to look at that on my iPad. I use mynoise.net, which is kind of similar. It has a bunch of different stuff, not just rain. I do like rain sounds. I do have rain sounds going on in my ears right now. I just can't stream them because I don't have permission from the creator of this program to stream them. My project is being a roller coaster too, but I'm loving it. That's the most important thing. At the end of the day, if you're happy with it, no matter how much up and down there was, at the end of the day, if you're happy with it, that's the most important thing. I've kind of come to terms with dealing with my projects when they hit low points. And I know that I'm going to finish this book and I'm going to have that feeling of, that was great, but also that was a train wreck. And I'm just kind of like, take a look at that this is a train wreck feeling and unpack it a bit and see how you can feel better about making it good in the future, because I know that I'm gonna sit down and edit it and it's gonna be much better after I edit it. But I believe you have this, Maskling. I use ambient mixer, which is good for getting myself into the scene. Yeah, anything that has like those I don't know if you guys can see it if I hold up my iPad, but this is what I'm using right now. So I have Tin Roof Rain and Conquistadors from mynoise.net, and I just sort of blend them together to create sort of what I want the feeling for the project to be, and then I know which project I'm working on by what I'm listening to. Aaron's other half is Troll. Hey, I can appreciate, I'm basically, I like people and I like hanging out, but when I am not in like a social mood, I am basically one of those, I am going into hibernation now. Don't knock on my door. I believe you, Aaron. I do. I definitely have my I am going into my cave and I'm not coming out, and I don't want to be approached until I have decided that I am done with my hibernation goodbye. I mean, I don't think you guys saw it because I wore it earlier in the week, but I literally have a shirt that says, "It's a nice day to leave me alone." And I almost always wear it on Monday. Where's Conquistador? It might be under, so My Noise does have certain noises that are locked behind, not necessarily a paywall, but if you have contributed at any point in time to the My Noise, like it's only, even if you only pay like $5, it opens up a section of the site which is usually not visible, and it could be that Conquistadors is in there. I just have this bookmarked, so, but I think if I give you guys the bookmark to my custom thing, I think you'd be able to load it. Let me see. This is gonna be a heck of a URL, so I apologize about all that, but see if you can click on that and see if it'll open, because I think if you have the URL, you can... I don't know if that will let you go directly to the Conquistadors, like, main gen page, but see if you can check it out. Oh, you found it! Nice! You have 2 sets of adult teeth, Aaron? Did they come in separately? Like, did you basically just have, like, an extra one? It did do a thing. Yeah, I think if I share you guys my custom generators, if you have the URL, you're able to go in there. But definitely, if you like mynoise.net, it's worth kicking them a $5. Super cool site. They're adding new sounds all the time. I have a shirt that says, "Careful or you'll end up in my novel." I love that. I bought Sable a tee that says, "I like coffee and maybe 3 people." That's perfect. That's perfect. I'm one of those people, I think I've mentioned this to Aaron and Sable before, but like, I'm one of those people who, I don't necessarily consider myself like a huge people person. I have a small group of really close friends, but if I like you and I trust you, I'm willing to like attach myself to you and like be open with you and just like be your best friend. But there's only like, I have one of those like hard outer shells where it's a little bit hard to dig through it and find the soft squishy underneath. Had to have my first set removed. Oh my goodness. I've never heard of that before. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense because you're born, I know that people are born with their adult teeth already up in there. But that must have been crazy if you had 2 sets like hanging out in there. I've seen dogs with it, but never a human. Yeah. The second set were garbage and crumbled by the time. Oh no, that seriously sucks. But I guess maybe they probably didn't have a way to get to the second set. I have to write a communistic leader's speech for my novel whenever I get into it. I guess I'll just loan an existing speech from someone and abridge it. The problems of alternate history. I can definitely see that. Not back in the set. Well, I guess maybe now they could, yeah. But even now, I wonder how they would get to that. Although I know dentistry has changed a lot since even just when I was a kid. Because I remember I used to be terrified of getting cavities done when I was young. I mean, maybe every kid is. But I remember it used to take so long, and they used to have to numb me like 3 different times. And now, the last time I went to the dentist, I had to have 3 fillings done at once, and it took them literally half an hour to do all 3. I felt basically nothing, aside from it taking forever for the numbness to come out. And I was like, dang, I expected this to take like 2 hours. So I think they've made like a lot of advances in more recent years with dentistry, but man, every time I go to the dentist, even now, I think we have had at least 10 minutes of glasses. Even now when I go to the dentist, I'm like, I don't want to see the freaking hook that you're putting in my mouth. I don't want to hear the drill. I just want to put my music on and only talk to me if something goes horribly wrong. They don't even freeze anymore. Like when you go to the dentist, they usually give me a shot like in my gum, and it takes like forever. I don't know like what all I don't look at the tools very much, I'll be honest, because I don't want to see what they're putting in my mouth. But it's definitely a lot less unpleasant than it was when I was younger. Because I remember the drill when I was younger, and it just, whew, I hated it. I hated that thing. My noise fades out when you press the pause. Yeah! You can also turn on, I never use it, but they have a little thing. Thank you for the stretch, Maskling. Let's do it. They have a little thing that you can turn on where it does like a visual, effect that goes with the like whatever setting you've gone to. It will basically animate the setting, which people like to use as well. I don't usually, because I'm not usually looking at it. But it's very cool. I actually use the My Noise Rain setting to sleep as well. I also kind of use earplugs, so I don't hear as much of it as I used to, but it's very, very relaxing. And they have some really good ambient noises for D&D and stuff on there too. Like they have dungeon sounds, they have like busy market sounds. For one of my projects, I use the City Rain, which sounds like light rain in traffic. It's really, just really satisfying. I'm looking at the clock though and realizing that it's almost 1 o'clock, so I better stop procrastinating and do this sprint. Let's do it. Let's get Alethea to the end of the first leg of her quest. Oh, did I even check how much we wrote in the last sprint? Was I so distracted? I started there. Ooh, we did 1,229 words. Wow. I guess I'm committed to getting this done. So we're at 3,302 for the whole stream. So if I can hit close to 4,000, that'll be pretty perfect. Thank you, Aaron. I'm gonna do my best. Let's have clicky clackies. 20 more minutes of clicky clackies. I momentarily forgot how to spell agreed and put like 6 E's in it. Word is disagreeing with me. I'm gonna have to look that one up later. Oh, thank you, Maskling, for the posture check. I'm definitely slouching. When I get to the end of a page in Word, I'm like... The spelling of Irish words is, yes. I would imagine anything Irish or Welsh, I would imagine, is not easy. It's pronounced peeve? I wasn't sure. Thank you for telling me. I was gonna say pet peeve, and then I was like, what if I'm saying it horribly wrong? You guys may have noticed that I'm very hesitant about saying especially names wrong because I don't know. I don't like to say people's names wrong. It makes me feel so sad. So if I ever say something wrong, please correct me because I want to do it right. I was planning to make a setup for a race car, but I guess I'll write instead. Is there any particular reason why you're not going to do the race car, Emperor of Finland? Just not happening today? Top 2, hello. Thank you for the follow. Welcome, welcome. How are you? Aaron Ree, pronounced Aaron Ree. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate. I admit that I was not sure how to pronounce your last name the first few times I saw it, so I appreciate. Norse words aren't easy either. Wattpad keeps telling me I'm spelling the name of Arya's wolf wrong because the spell check doesn't recognize it. Yes, this is why custom dictionaries are so good. Thank you, Top 2, for the stretch. Appreciate. In the backstory, the main antagonist. I can't. AB Coffee. How do I say that? I don't know how to say that. King of Ireland. Oh. My name means pearl, which is also my birthstone, which I don't know if that was intentional or not. Got original place names and people names. Google Docs keeps telling me I'm wrong. Yes. Did I show you guys? I think I showed you guys how to do custom dictionaries in Word. But custom dictionaries are very helpful if you're writing something fantasy or sci-fi, because then it won't mark all of your names wrong. Word marks Percival. Word marks lots of stuff wrong. I've learned that sometimes you have to argue with Word and make it do it right. I'm at the point where I'm just trying to figure out what I want the last line of the book to be. Aaron, I tried to ask Ghost if he was going to be a badger, and he threatened to be a bat and told me I was rushing him. So I have been informed by him in what I feel is a very badger way that he will choose his house on October 31st. So I hope he's gonna be a badger. I feel like he should be a badger, but I am not allowed to, try to convince him, apparently. Maybe you'll have more luck than me. So we are talking about Game of Tomes. Let me just do the command if you want to check it out. Game of Tomes is a super cool event that runs during Nano and Camp NaNoWriMo months. And November is the big one where we have the Undead Horde, which I have not yet gotten to experience. So I'm super excited. And basically you can choose a house within the Game of Tomes universe to submit your words for, and hopefully win the tome and not become a zombie. I am House Mollusca. We are the sea creatures, the tentacly ones. Aaron is House Meles, the badgers, and we're trying to get Ghost to be a badger because we feel like he would be a badger. But there's lots of different houses. There's a bat house, there's a dinosaur house, there's ocelot house. I believe the red panda house is brand new. Mollusca as in snails. I mean, it's, I think it's meant to represent like any creature with the shell, like any shelled, outer creature. We're basically the sea creatures. We're represented by the octopus, the kraken, the cosmic kraken is our leader. We are the sea beasts. And as you can see from behind me, I have quite a few octopus things. There are 2 octopuses and a squid within view behind me. So I don't think there is an axolotl house, Laurel. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head. I'm sure Aaron could fill in the ones that I'm missing. But I write for the School of Worldcraft and Wordmancy. Oh my god, my freaking white noise just did that thing again, where it just reloaded randomly. I think Ghost wants to do the mercenary thing, too. I don't know if there's a turtle house. There's definitely a dino house, though. Which I think covers a lot of the reptiles. I just love the word axolotl. I know. Like I said, I'm trying to figure out the last few sentences of this book, and then it's done. And I'm always so picky about the last line, even though I know I'm gonna change it. My white noise has died on me. Doesn't help. I need something in my brain spaces. I don't like it. I wrote the last sentence. I don't like it, but I'm gonna change it. I always change it. It's fine for now. It can be bad for now. It's fine. Yes, Aaron sells his words for charity, and Ghost wants to do that too, I think, because he's really passionate about raising money for causes, and I know that usually the cause that money is raised for in Game of Tomes is a charity that gets books for kids and encourages kids to read. So I know he wants to get involved in that. It is done! Yes! Even if I hate it right now, it's done. It is 66,078 words total, and we wrote every single one of those words on stream. So, can I just tell you guys? It's an absolutely great contest for Rymos. You get nothing for winning in real life. Yeah, exactly. Like, the only thing that you really get from doing NaNoWriMo is like a little badge, or you can buy a shirt from them if you want to. But in the Game of Tomes, you get to have fun, hang out with a bunch of other writers. They do the event streams every 5 days, the elimination streams. There's lore, there's filking, there's awesome people to hang out with. Exactly. Kids need to read. And I think that is something really important, because books got me through a lot of bad stuff when I was a kid, and that's the main reason why I write now. And why I feel like telling stories is important. And so many kids just don't have the ability to get access to books because they're expensive. So it's so good. You get to have fun, you get to help raise money for charity, and you hopefully don't become undead, because from what I understand, some people become undead in November. I've just discovered that I think I might be a bat. Nice! Maskling! That's awesome. I know that the Bat House just coronated a new queen, Queen Tarabelle, who my character is fond of because she was one of his first friends. We always need teachers. Yes, yes. I definitely think Ghost is the kind of person who, like, he basically wants to come to stuff on his own terms, so I definitely think he'll participate, but he just won't decide until he's ready to decide, which I think makes him a badger. But he won't admit that he's a badger until he's ready to admit that he's a badger. I hit a chair leg with my foot and now one of my toes are— no! Emperor of Finland! I hope it passes quickly. I somehow can bump my elbows into anything and everything, even if I'm very far away. I guess I should check how many words that last sprint was, even though we went a little bit over. So the last bit was 1,143. Nice. So in total today, to the end of the book, we did 4,450. I'd say that's a pretty successful stream. I'd say that's a pretty successful end to the book. I'm going to tear this apart at some point and put it back together. Probably on Monday, we're going to go through and, like I said, update the outline, talk about how much we're going to change it and start percolating that. Did 400? Nice. 361 words for Arya's part. Nice. Awesome. You guys, every word is a win. So good on you guys for getting stuff done. Thank you, Maskling. It was the toe that was already painful. No, Emperor of Finland, I'm so sorry. I hope your foot feels better soon. It's the worst when you bump your foot into something too, because you need your foot to— I feel like you never really understand how much you need any part of your body until you injure it, but I had some foot stuff going on recently and I know it sucks. Because you need your feet. Planning on 3,600 a day during Nano. Nice. I have an absolutely insane plan for the 50K in 7 days. I've talked about it a bit on stream. I'm going to be doing some of it on stream because I basically I'm going to see if I can be extra crazy and do it in 5 days because I try to take weekends off. So I'm going to be aiming for 10K a day, 5 days. But I have a backup plan to do less if I need the weekend. 50K in 14 days. That's amazing. That is amazing. I used to not even be able to do the 50K in the month. So, I know I've showed you guys this before, but just again, in case anyone wants to add me on NaNoWriMo, I am Megan Cutler over there. You can check out my profile. I accept all friend requests. You can see my book is there. The details of my book have been uploaded, just waiting for me to get started. That's almost what I did in July. Nice! I was editing in July, so I didn't have as many words. So I'm really keen to see how many words I can do for Game of Tomes when I'm actually like full out writing. And one of the reasons why we finished writing Everyone's Child now is because I'm going all out on my Nano project. I'm going like ultra hardcore on my Aravalia series for NaNoWriMo. I think last year I did 128,000 words in November, so I'm kind of hoping I can top that this year. Has not been updating. AB Coffee, if you're on there, you are my buddy already. Getting my words in, just haven't flowed it via administrative tasks. No worries. None at all. And I mean, no obligation to use the site or anything, but if you guys are on there, feel free to add me. I will accept your friend requests. I will be cheering you on. I'm going to be a Game of Tomes reporting stream for the event this November, and I'm super excited about it. I was not a reporting stream in July because it was my first time and I had no idea what I was doing. And I'm still trying to pin down the exact day. I realize that you guys can barely see what's on my screen. I'll flip it in a second. But I'm thinking that on Thursday, the 3rd of November, this is my Nano profile, so you guys can actually see it. I'm thinking on the 3rd of November that might be the 12-hour stream. That might be the combined Charathon anniversary 12-hour stream, because my real anniversary is on a Saturday, and I'm not going to do a 12-hour stream on Saturday, so... Aaron Ray, I will, I already pronounced your name wrong. I'm so sorry. Aaron Ray, I will add you. You even told me how to say it earlier, and my brain just forgot. Send invitation. Nice. Nano's really changed since I last used it. It is, they do update it every year. I find that it's a lot easier and more dynamic, and there's a lot more on there than there used to be. They used to like delete your buddies every time they updated the website, which was really annoying, but the last 2 years I've managed to keep all the ones that I've had added. So I'm a rebel. I'm not writing a novel, let alone a new one. I am also, you'll notice on my profile for this one, I am also the rebel. I've already given myself the Nano Rebel badge because I technically have already started the project that I'm going to be using for Nano. But it's what I'm working on. It's the project that needs the big push, so I'm going for it. I think anyone who can get any extra words by tracking it anyway is a good thing. Yeah, I definitely think tracking your words is a good idea because it shows you how much you grow and change over time. I've been tracking my word counts for about 5 years now, and I'm kind of shocked at how much more I do now versus what I used to do, and I never really noticed the growth until I started tracking it. I don't even remember your name. It's okay. You can call me Striker. I answer to Striker even offline. It's totally cool. I have several people that I've met online who I just always think of as their online handles. Woof is one of them. Woof and I call each other Woof and Striker even when we talk offline a lot. So it's totally cool. I answer to Megan. I answer to Striker. Both equally, so it's all good. But yeah, so anyone who wants to get involved in Game of Tomes, highly recommend. It's a great community, super open, super friendly. They were the ones that introduced me to streaming. If I hadn't seen people like Sable streaming and, you know, sharing their work time and doing like virtual write-ins, it never would have occurred to me to do my own. So definitely check it out. you know, there's no pressure. There's a lot of stuff in the community. People role play, people filk, people, you know, they make really awesome lore videos and all that kind of stuff, but you don't have to do that stuff if you just want to pick a house and contribute your words and see how the competition goes. You can totally do that. It's like you can choose at what level you participate, how often you participate, all that kind of stuff. So definitely check it out. Don't be intimidated by how much stuff there is in the Discord and all that kind of stuff, because people are always willing to help you and answer your questions. And I've yet to have a bad experience when I'm hanging out with the people in Game of Tomes. They're all just super encouraging, and at the end of the day, even though it is a competition, it's all about encouraging writers to hit their goals, to do their nano, to write their projects during NaNoWriMo and in between. So check it out. And check me out on NaNoWriMo if you guys want to add me as a buddy. You have to see Sable and Safa do Dinos and Rust. Is that a new one? Is that coming up for the prologue? That sounds so good, because I love the song. If I'm guessing right which song that comes from, I love that song. So I have been just in awe of all of the stuff that the organizers for Game of Tomes do. I honestly don't know how or when Sable ever sleeps, because she has so much going on and she just gets everything done, and she makes these amazing videos, and she has an amazing singing voice, and I'm like, you guys are amazing. So I'm so glad that I found you. And it's ironic because I only found Game of Tomes because Sable was one of the, I think they're called MLs or MLAs for NaNoWriMo in my area. She was one of the people organizing the NaNoWriMo events in the area where I live last year, and that was how I met her and stumbled on the Game of Tomes Discord and like found this whole amazing community. So it's funny how that kind of stuff works out. We are going to raid because I need to eat. I would love to just hang out and chat for the rest of the day, but I do have to eat and get a few things done before craft stream tonight with Flutter. So let's see who is around doing words. Sent to Candace Knight and Rishi Blackmore's version of Diamonds and Rust. Yes, I was thinking of Diamonds and Rust. I love that song so much. That's one of those songs where some days I just put it on repeat. Ooh, let's see who is around and what they're up to. Trying to spread around the love a little bit. Oh, I see Emperor of Finland is streaming as well. Sorry, I have to wait for the ads to finish so I can see. I try not to raid people when they're like AFK. Travis is up. That is true, but we raided him on Wednesday when I missed the Game of Tomes raid because I got offline so fast. I looked at Mercedes too, and hers says that she is AFK testing for Game of Tomes, so we might pop over to Anne. I don't follow Emperor Finland, so my vote is there. Sure, we haven't raided him in a while. Let's go. I think he just started up as well. So yeah, let's do it. I'm just going to do a quick shout out for Flutterdye. If you guys don't follow my super awesome friend, it's all right if you don't speak on stream, Emperor of Finland. You're writing and you're running sprints, and we're there to support people. It's all cool. If you're not following my good friend Flutterdye, check her out. She's a variety streamer. On Friday nights, we do Crafty Coven, which is Flutter, myself, and our friend Wolf, and occasionally our friend Vinyl Stencil. We get together, we do crafting. I'm going to be working on the horse. So if you want to see this other eye come together tonight, check that out. I'll hopefully be getting that done on stream tonight. Us royalty have to stick together. Exactly. I consider it rude to do, but I usually spend time on other streams as I don't take writing that seriously. I do speak if people speak to me. Hey, it's no big deal. I know tons of streamers who lurk in other streamers' streams while they are streaming. Coffee's really good at it. Supernatural Writer's really good at it. It's all about spreading the love and sharing the community and supporting each other. That's the most important thing. I re-signed up to Nano. I'm unsure what username to pick. I mean, you could just go with Maskling if you want Maskling, but I think you can change it. I just have mine as my regular name. Maskling is taken. Oh no! Oh no. Is Maskling taken? Read the words in the right order. That helps. If it is taken, I always just slap a 42 on the end of anything that's taken. Because 42 is the ultimate answer to life, the universe, and everything. I would just go with Maskling. It works. Yeah, now you guys know how big of a nerd I am because 42 is my favorite number. There you go. Not shout out, raid and sub-raid. Please feel free to use any emotes that make you happy for the raid call. Dyslexic of the world unite. Yes. Sometimes I just go so fast that I don't know. My brain has its own ideas. Before stream ends, who am I befriending? I am Megan Cutler over on NaNoWriMo. Aaron already mentioned that he is also Aaron Ree without the underscore. I know lots of people are untie. You see, my brain has its own ideas about all the words and it's wrong quite often. Also Maskling, if you post in the Discord, which I'm pretty sure you are in, I know a bunch of other people. I know Exiled Faye is on there. A bunch of other people hang out on NaNoWriMo, and everyone will be willing to friend you. I'm going to head off and get some lunch. I'm going to take my own advice about taking care of myself. Like we said earlier, I'm going to do some eating and some yoga so that I can be healthy. Pepper's Discord is mine too. It's gonna pop the raid. Take care, my friends. I love you all. You're amazing. See you soon.